Hello everyone, this is Clucky Power with a quick update for my Pim Shock damage build for Thor. This build does a lot of damage exploring the two different types of status damage, particles and shock, alongside plasma and cold damage at times. I updated some of the gear pieces I used since my original video, and I was asked to show it. So first we're going to go quickly over the skills I picked. Some of them might be a little different from my initial video, but let's get into it. For my support heroic ability, I have Ymir's Path to give my teammates a damage boost, and Hell's Anger to increase my crit damage and chances with Warrior's Fury. God Blast, I have the Son of the Elder Gods to enhance the initial cold damage of God Blast after I do the plasma version of Bifrost as they combo together. And the second perk I picked was Overcharged Blast to do 20% more damage with Overcharge with combos with the next heroic ability. The next ability is Bifrost. I picked Muspelheim's Torment. I picked this because when Thor returns, he burns everything around him, which combos with shock and cold damage to get more exploit damage. And then I have Odin's Blessings of the Realm so that I come back overcharged, which works well with the previous perk from the Assault Heroic ability. So when I come back, I'm doing exploit damage, Tactigon damage, Odin Force damage, burning damage, overcharge damage, and more. Now for my mastery skills, I have Heroic Charge, speed up my Heroic Recovery based off my attacks, Combo Damage for increased damage to combo finishers, and Heroic Takedown to get more Heroic Orbs from takedowns. In the next tree, I picked this Critical Throw for guaranteed crit damage. If you time your throw correctly, when timed correctly, everything about this throw will become a crit hit. Even when the hammer is on the ground, use the power of Uru. The lightning strikes will all be crit hits, and the return of the hammer will also be an automatic crit. Get the automatic crit throw the hammer as soon as the yellow circle is full on the screen. This skill works really well with one of my equipments to proc a damage buff. Then I picked Guard Break to quickly pin down an enemy such as Stellar Robots or Purple Face Robots, as they're very annoying as they're fast or they block a lot of attacks. And I just use Flying Shots because all the skills in this area pretty much all suck. Now for the next trees, I picked Ionic Bolts. So it'll call down lightning and damage enemies around him after he defeats an enemy, and this causes a lot of damage. Then I picked Maximum Force, increase Odin Force energy, and Asgardian Fortitude to reduce the energy loss penalty for failing to counter a strong or unblockable attack. Okay, then for the last skill trees, I picked Lightning Field, as this will call down lightning around Thor when he's overcharged. It causes a lot of damage and will keep enemies stunned pretty much when you're attacking them. And it works really well with Ionic Bolts. Then I have Charge Resistance for more survivability when overcharged. And I picked Damage Force, so I do 15% more damage while overcharged. Now into my stats and gear. As you can see, my stats have changed since my initial video for Thor. You can see I have a lot more might and valor now since the last time. That's because my Thor is mainly a melee fighter, and the valor helps increase his crit damage from his attacks and his heroics. And then I focused on proficiency, so I have a slightly higher chance to get crit buffs, and to get crit and proc my buffs. While Resolve lets me do more damage and heal more efficiently with one of my gear pieces. Now onto my gear. Now my first piece is Vambrace of the Allfather. This is actually the same gear piece I have in my initial video. I have not changed it, but I have tested out other pieces, but I have not liked them as much as this gear piece. Going to why. This piece usually comes with high proficiency and high might from the Elite Hives. This gear gives 15% increased damage while Odin Force is active, so most of the time you're going to be doing 15% increased damage than what you normally do. And for my testing, Odin Force already gives you a 10% increase in damage. This gear will now increase your damage potential to 25% on every attack. Do it with Odin Force. Second perk is probably the best perk to get on Thor, and it's Pim Particle damage from signature attacks. Using this perk with the Whirling Hammer will immediately make enemies tiny, and when enemies are tiny, they take more damage and deal less damage to you, upping your survivability. But we really want particle damage because after the enemy becomes tiny, they are now going to suffer exploit damage from every attack that is a negative stats effect like shock or cold. Now I do have some cosmic damage pieces, as you can see right here, but I found that enemies were dying too fast before they can be fully inflicted by the cosmic damage, so I can heal off that. And I just found it more efficient to be able to heal off every attack than wait for them to become inflicted by cosmic damage to heal off them. Second gear piece I have is targeted buff grip, which is different from my initial video. I'm using this gear piece because of the damage buff it gives from ranged crit hits. This buff is really easy to proc with Thor when using the critical throw skill perk. As I mentioned before, every aspect of the attack will become a crit hit, so you have multiple chances in this one throw to get a damage buff. Now the third gear piece I have is reactive protection breastplate. I'm using this for the defense buff I can proc when being damaged, and this procs pretty often, and the stats I got along with it are pretty good too. And then lastly, for the last gear piece, I'm using the light quake belt, mainly using for the damage buffs and stats. Now I would like a good apex belt to increase signature attacks damage instead, but I haven't found that gear piece yet, or at least a good version of it that I don't lose too much by other stats. Now for the major artifact I'm using, it is the Tactagon first. It gives might and valor, but I'm really using it for the increased damage from routed. This works perfectly for our build. Thor already does increase damage on small enemies because of pin particle damage, and then Thor does more damage from Odin Force and shock damage. Then when combined with pin particles, he does exploit damage, and then finally with routed, he does 11.8% increased damage. And the second perk helps ramp up the status damage meter to get the targets into the weakened state faster, so that routed activates in case you don't have any intensity in your build. And lastly, the minor artifacts I have on is the Norn's Throne of Justice. I use it for the stats I rolled on it mostly, and I then use a yellow ISO 8 for the 3 valor stats I have on it, and the perk it comes with for heavy combo finisher damage. I would switch these minor artifacts for very similar minor artifacts with the increased signature attack damage perk, as it'll increase my Thor's damage potential, but I haven't had any luck of getting an ISO or a Norn's Stone with this perk yet. Now this may not look as survivable as my initial build, as it gave up some perks for more damage, but it's still pretty tanky, as you'll be proccing this buff pretty often and healing yourself from every attack Thor does from this Vambrace's third perk to keep yourself alive without having to run away from the battlefield. My main strategy for this build is to use Beam of Starfire or use a crit hammer throw. Either one of these will proc a damage buff, and then I'll get into melee range to do some major damage, and I'll use my Bifrost and my Warrior's ability most of the time together to combo their uses, as they'll do exploit damage. And that's pretty much my main strategy with Thor. Now I'll show you some challenge level 4 gameplay using Thor.
Well done.
Avengers! We figured you'd be doing Hill's dirty work. Taskmaster's mercenary.
What are they doing here?
Protecting the base, it seems.
Get rid of them. Close ranks. These flies are nothing. They got backup.
All clear. Team must be defeated. Set me up! One of their agents is down. Well done. That squad member has been neutralized. Another enemy defeated. expensive and can infiltrate their security system. Head for the terminal so I can get you inside the lab.
I call the lightning! Asgard, open the way! Your defeat was inevitable.
Team must be defeated.
Hear me! By the power of thunder!
One of their agents is down.
This one's from the heart!
Excellent. Another agent down. Another enemy defeated.
That's it for my Pim Shock exploit damage build. Please leave a like and a comment if you like the build and video, and share this build with your friends or on Reddit. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe if you want to see more Avengers content or gaming content in general. I've been slow on the content for Avengers because there's a lot of RNG in this game to get the gear pieces you want for your build, and with only being able to get certain gear pieces once a week. But follow me on Twitch and Twitter for when I'll be online. I stream mostly all days of the week, but some days I do take a day off, so just check my schedule on Twitch or on Twitter. And I just finished a Spider-Man marathon on Twitch, and I've been posting my playthrough on YouTube, so you can check those out too. And we'll be playing Miles Morales Spider-Man when that comes out. And right now I'm playing other games like Resident Evil and some other horror-esque games because it's October right now. So come by if you want to talk about anything or just hang out. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.